¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Okay.
Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday morning. How's it going, Astro? How's it going, Mister? How's it going, Mayhem Hippie? Howdy, everybody. It is Tuesday. I am not having an awesome morning. Oh no. Sorry to hear that. What's going on? I hope you are coming together. Sort of. Mild and gray. Oh, I understand. Mayhem Hippie. Trust me, we're gonna go over that. Supposedly, alleged decision here. Well, draft, I should say. We're gonna get into that one, trust me. Trying to work on organizing folks to get down there this Saturday. Nice. Love that we find out we basically lost the right to abortion on a random Monday. Broke my brain. Yeah, but like this decision, this is a what is it? Like a draft? Deeply disturbing stuff. Deeply disturbing stuff. We're gonna talk about that in a moment. I got that one queued up. I don't blame you, Mayhem Hippie. This is one of those things where, you know, elections do matter to a degree, you know? That Roe v. Wade is a bombshell. Yeah, it is. I mean, you could check back how many times have we've gone over the possibility of Roe v. Wade being taken down. I went full doomer. Yikes. Indeed, that is a bombshell. It is just unbelievable that we're in 2022 and we are going so much. We're going so backwards. We're going so backwards. These Republicans are literally trying to push us back into the Stone Ages, into the 50s. I should say. We're going back to the old theocratic ways. First it was sex education, then access to birth control, then access to safe birth control. Now they're taking this. How is this not an attack on women and their rights? They're making abortions a felony. Who can't vote? Felons, and soon a lot of women. Right, because they don't consider women people. That's really it. They don't consider women people. It's perverse that Donald Trump's court is going to rule and make the Republic and make it is it is perverse that Donald Trump's court is going to rule and make the Republicans unelectable. Are you sure about that? It seems like they're scoring a lot of W's. We've got such a ineffective Democratic Party right now. Are you sure? I don't know if it's making them unelectable. It's literally giving their base what they want. We've been talking about for months how Republicans have been making all these wins at state and state levels and mobilizing their base. They're going to take over. Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, we did an article about Steve Bannon and his essentially his game plan. This is it. This is his game plan right here. Make sure that you win the local boards, local city councils, state governments, state legislature, governorships, governor's mansions, and then you can deploy your agenda. Democrats have done nothing and still won't do anything. That's why it feels helpless. Yeah, the opposition has been not there. Not there at all. I don't think I've seen a very strong statement by the Democratic Party whatsoever. By anyone, really. Just to kind of say, hey, you know, this is not right. Not a peep. Republicans have delivered more for their base in 2021 than 2022 than Democrats and Democrats have, and they're in power. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I think you'll find that the West Coast and Northeast will become safe havens just like they were in the Civil War. Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, Mayhem Hippie, it's gonna when it happens, it's gonna start cascading into each Republican-controlled state are just gonna straight up do flat-out bans, because that's really the end game. Flat-out bans. We've got, I want to say Ohio. I can't remember which state that wanted to actually punish they actually want to punish women who go out of state to get an abortion if somehow they find out, which is like really weird. I guess you would have to have somebody like tell on you, I guess. But there is one state, I'm thinking, I'm drawing a blank, but I'm thinking it's Oklahoma, who made a law that if you even go out of state and they find out, then you're done. Remember, folks, this is the same party who claims to be about small government. This is the same party who claims to be about freedom or whatever. Every time these people talk about anything, it's usually the opposite. You got to think about it. You got to think about it in the opposite terms. When they talk about freedom, they're not actually talking about freedom. They're talking about freedom for them to do what they want. That's what it is. At the end of the day, it's all about control. When they talk about small government, they don't really mean that. How could you want small government when you're literally passing laws? When you're literally passing laws, having citizens spy on each other, and putting bounties on each other, and taking away bodily autonomy, essentially. Which is just absolutely rich. Coming from a party who's like very, very, very pun intended, gung-ho about like the Second Amendment and how it's supposed to protect you and preserve your bodily autonomy, but yet have absolutely no problems taking away bodily autonomy. As long as it's not them, right? Hey, Sunrays, GOP is mostly afraid white men who need more white babies to rule the world. I mean, like, not even. I don't know, like, what is the point of denying women abortions? Because it's going to affect, like, that's across the board, right? Imagine a 10-year-old pregnant can't have an abortion. Oh, yeah. And like, something that's very telling, in a lot of these laws, they don't even make exceptions for rape or incest, which is like a really big self-report, in my opinion. Those exceptions have to be fought for, which is really, really, really weird. It's a huge red flag, a huge self-report that the Republican Party always has such a problem adding like even those exceptions because, well, kind of weird. I do agree with you that the GOP is mostly afraid white men. That I agree with. Mostly. I personally know 5 women who were sexually assaulted by family. It happened, sad but true. Yeah, absolutely. That's actually, unfortunately, the most common scenario. It's by family or someone that's very, very close. Unfortunately. And the fact that they specifically don't even allow exceptions for rape and incest is, yikes. Which Tennessee rep wanted to overturn gay marriage and allow baby brides and grooms? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wasn't there a law passed just recently? I can't remember, Sunrays. If you can get to DC this weekend, any support would be appreciated. I myself might not be, but is there a link that you can give me, Mayhem Hippie, so that I can signal boost it? I can signal boost it. And also post it on social media or post it on the Discord too. He brought up the bill and made a fool of himself. Yeah. I think that wasn't that recent? I'm pretty sure that was recent. Wasn't it? I'm trying to think because there was a state that was trying to remove restrictions. Remove restrictions when it comes to child marriage or something like that. I can't remember the complete story, but it's something. I think it's something to the effect of what you're telling me, Sunrays. I type very bad. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. It's something like that. It's something weird like that. This is all Facebook organizing right now. I know a bunch of folks from local communities are organizing. We have 2 groups, one going to the state capitol and one going to DC. Is there any way to get like a link to the page or something like that we can signal boost? Or if you know something that's going down in your area, please consider showing up. I'm so glad I live in a blue state. Yeah. I just wish we had a good, organized opposition overall throughout the Democratic Party, but we don't. All right, folks. I think we gotta start and get into this. If Mayhem Hippie, if you have any links, send them to me via whispers so that I can signal boost them. Send it to me via whispers so I can signal boost them and put them on the Discord or put them on Twitter, anything like that. Anything that I can signal boost, just let me just whisper it to me. Why are they so lame? I don't know. It's so like past that to me. Over it. It's like the opposition barely exists. I will get them together, but that is the main site work off. We're waiting an official statement right now. Okay. Yeah, just whenever you get a chance, Mayhem Hippie, whenever you get the chance, just uh send me any links, and you can also post them on the Discord too. Um you can also post them on the Discord if you want, or just send me the links and I'll post them, whatever, whichever one. And if I get the links, I can also tweet them out and talk about it all week. Freaking believable. All right. Well, since we're gonna start on that note, I might as well start. I finally got unbanned from Twitter. Wow. Welcome back to the Bird app. I don't know why Twitter is the way it is, but hey, social media is gonna social media. I made a comment about Putin that Reuters didn't like. No way. Oh my god. Sheesh. But I fought it and I won, and I'm not even kidding. Nice. Free speech wins. All right, so I figure we might as well start with this one. Supreme Court draft opinion that would overturn Roe v. Wade, published by Politico. In a stunning breach of Supreme Court confidentiality and secrecy, Politico has obtained what it calls a draft of a majority opinion written by Justice Alito that would strike down Roe v. Wade. Circulated back in February of 2022. About almost 3 months ago. And mind you, this is again a first draft, but nonetheless, it has to be talked about as if it was, because it looks like they might lean into this. The draft that was circulated in early February, according to Politico, the final opinion has not been released, and votes and language can change before opinions are formally released. The opinion in this case is not expected to be published until late June, so about another month-ish. CNN has not independently confirmed the document's authenticity. Politico says it has authenticated the draft, which is this. A Supreme Court spokesperson declined to comment. Jesus. I normally watch C-SPAN or MSNBC, BBC, or PBS. CNN lost me when Anderson was in a storm. Green screen. Oof. I mean, sometimes you could get you could get good articles. Yeah, this is the justification that they would use should they rule to strike down Roe versus Wade. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. The Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right is implicitly protected by any constitutional provision, including the one on which the defenders of Roe and Casey now chiefly rely on. The Due Process Clause in the 14th Amendment. That provision has been held to guarantee some rights that are not mentioned in the Constitution, but any such right must be deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition and implicit in the concept of ordered liberty. I mean, what do you think that is? What do you think the right to bodily autonomy is? This is such a lame freaking cop-out. Right, what happens when there's a multi-pregnancy and only an abortion will save the other fetuses? Nope, can't do it. Not if this is the final decision, nope, I can't do that anymore. The right to abortion does not fall within this category. Until the latter part of the 20th century, such a right was entirely unknown in American law. Wait, so because it's unknown, so then, like, wait a minute, so then there can be no changes whatsoever because at some point there wasn't, like, a law? Wait, how does that make sense? It never existed, so therefore it shouldn't exist? That sounds like a leap in logic. So because it was entirely how do we future-proof this then? What if in the future we need to change something because, well, things change? You're talking about something that's hundreds of years old. And furthermore, it was allegedly, supposedly designed to be amended and to be changed. That's the whole point. These folks literally want us to go back, like, to the Dark Ages. Jesus. Yeah, Handmaid's Tale. That's what they want. Indeed, when the 14th Amendment was adopted, 3/4 of the states made abortion a crime at all stages of pregnancy. Sheesh. The abortion right is also critically different from any other right that this court has held to fall within the 14th Amendment's protection of, quote, liberty. I mean, like, what could be more free, freedom? What could be more free? What could be more, what a scenario could be more related to liberty than having bodily autonomy? Roe's defenders characterize the abortion right as similar to the rights recognized in past decisions involving matters such as intimate sexual relations, contraception, and marriage, but abortion is fundamentally different, as both Roe and Casey acknowledge, because it destroys what those decisions call fetal life. What the heck is fetal life? And what the law now before us describes as an unborn human being. What is this characterization? Unborn human being. I don't even know if that'll achieve that. I don't even know if that's going to achieve that, Sunrays. Because there's a lot of poor white people too. They won't be able to go like cross into like a blue state. They won't have the money. So I don't know what the to me, in my opinion, the only end game really at the end of the day is just control. That's it. They don't see women as people, and regardless, they just want to control because of some like weird religious fundamentalism that's kind of ingrained into these folks' heads. I do agree the GOP is a messed up cult. You don't think so? I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe that's the end game. Who knows? Indeed, when the 14th Amendment was adopted, 3/4 of the states made abortion a crime at all stages of pregnancy. Oh, yes, we read this. To the rights recognized in the past decisions involving matters such as intimate sexual relations, contraception, and marriage, but abortion is fundamentally different, as both Roe and Casey acknowledged, because it destroys what those decisions called fetal life. Okay, and what the law now before us describes as an unborn human being. Stare decisis, the doctrine on which Casey's controlling opinion was based, does not compel unending adherence to Roe's abuse of judicial authority. What? Oh my god. This is horrifying. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision, yes, having someone's bodily autonomy, just no. That's not well. You, if you are of the women class, you do not have bodily autonomy. That's a deal here. Okay. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak. Can you imagine? Oh, because they would never say anything about this. They would never think this way if it was a law regulating or attempting to limit male bodily autonomy. It just wouldn't fly. This wouldn't fly. This logic wouldn't fly. The only way they can reconcile these things is just by the fact that they don't think that women are people. That's it. Its reasoning is exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. That's a bit of a vague boast. How is this guy a judge? How is this guy a justice? I really want to know, because like there's literally there's nothing here. There's vague posting. This is all just vague posting. Does not compel unending adherence to Roe's abuse of judicial authority. How? Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. How? Its reasoning was exceptionally weak. How? And the decision has damaging consequences. How? Can you elaborate on that? And has that damaging consequences? Far from bringing about a national settlement of the abortion issue, Roe and Casey have inflamed debate and deepened division. Your job isn't to care about that, okay? The whole point is to be just. You know, like the justice system. To be just. Thank Bush for this idiot, yep. How is Thomas a judge? Unclear. It is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. Okay. The permissibility of abortion and limitations upon it are to be resolved like most important questions in our democracy by citizens trying to persuade one another and then voting. Wait. Okay, so do you think that that's how that works? Do you think that's how that works? The law at issue in this case, Mississippi's Gestational Age Act, see Mississippi Code here, contains this central provision: except in a medical emergency or in the case of severe fetal abnormality, a person shall not intentionally or knowingly perform or induce an abortion of an unborn human being. What? If the probable gestational age of the unborn human being has been determined to be greater than 15 weeks. To support this act, the legislator made a series of factual findings. Oh, factual findings. Oh. It began by noting that at the time of enactment, only 6 countries besides the US permitted non-therapeutic or elective abortion on demand after 20th week of gestation. Okay, but after the 20th week, you're talking about viability at that point. Of course, the majority of abortions are done early, before that. You're talking about a very small percentage of abortions that are done after fetal viability, because it's pretty much understood that you already want the child at that point, usually, unless there's some medical issue. But generally speaking, once you know and once you pass that point of viability, generally speaking, the overwhelming majority of women, they're intending to have a child. Abortions, at least the overwhelming amount, are usually done very early. Women don't even know they're possibly preggers until month 2 anyways. Yeah, usually about, 6 weeks-ish? The legislature then found that 5 or 6 weeks gestational age, an unborn human being's heart begins beating at a... Wait, this is not based on science. What? Factual findings? A unborn human being's heart begins beating at 5 or 6 weeks? What? This is actually insane. This is actually insane. This actually goes against any basic bio 101. This isn't factual findings. Right, it isn't even at 5 or 6 weeks. That we're not even talking about even really viable for all during this time period. During this time period, even miscarriages are quite possible and quite frequent actually. When Texas went into effect, even if you found out before 6 weeks, they probably make sure it was delayed until the point of to the best of their ability. Right. It is basically a parasite until age 25. True. That's a good meme. After the 20th week of gestation, the legislator then found that 5 or 6 weeks gestational age. That's the beginning, right? That has to be the beginning. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a heartbeat as a heart at that stage. 5 or 6 weeks? There's no way. There's no way. Listen, I'm not like an expert, but I'm pretty sure that at 5 or 6 weeks, a tiny, I don't even know if you can call it a fetus at that point. It does not have a heart. Okay? Biden, Biden better expand the SCOTUS. He's not. What they can do, though, because they are currently capable, I think, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they're capable of passing laws because they have right now a they have right now the Senate and the House, so they technically could pass and codify this into law much faster, much more viable than expanding the Supreme Court, I think. But that would mean having a unified democratic a competent, number one, that would require a competent unified Democratic Party to pass this and codify this into law. That would be a route which is much faster than attempting to expand the Supreme Court. I don't think that's going to happen. Dems are going to lose the House and Senate. I think so. I think they're going to get destroyed. I think they're going to get destroyed. Unborn human being's heart begins beating at 8 weeks. The unborn human begins to move in the womb. What? At 9 weeks, all basic physiological functions are present. Wait. No. At 10 weeks, you're telling me that before fetal viability, which is usually about I think 20 weeks, 24 weeks, I think, depending. You're telling me that all basic physiological functions are present. And then at 10 weeks, all vital organs begin to function? And at 12 weeks, the unborn human being at 12 weeks, the unborn human being has taken on human form in all relevant respects. Okay, so you do me a favor here, test this hypothesis. Get a 12-week fetus, since it has taken on human form in all relevant respects, and take it outside the womb and see what happens. Try to test that hypothesis. Let me know how that goes. It's the size of a peanut? Yeah, I know. That was an LPN. What the fuck are they actually trying to say? Yeah, I don't know. If this gets through, they're going to push for a full ban after. This is just a start. Not even to mention birth control rights and allowing women sterilization. Oh yeah. They're going to overturn Roe versus Wade, and then what they're gonna do is make sure that if you live in a red state, state legislature that's also controlled by a red Republican governor's mansion, whatever, they're gonna go after the pills, the abortion pills, and the Birth control as well. It is awful. It is awful. Quoting Gonzalez versus Carhart, it found that most abortions after 15 weeks employ a dilation and evacuation procedure which involves the use of surgical instruments to crush and tear the unborn child, and it includes the intentional commitment of such acts for non-therapeutic or elective reasons as a barbaric practice and dangerous for the maternal patient and demeaning to the medical profession. No. 15 weeks? You could literally have a miscarriage and no need for whatever the heck this is. At 15 weeks. What? This is actually just divorced from reality. None of these things are true. Like, this is basic bio 101. I mean, I'm not even like some type of expert either, but none of this makes sense. None of this is true. Next, they'll be monitoring periods. Right. Well, Texas tried to prosecute a woman for, I think, manslaughter because she had an abortion, and the Texas, I want to say county AG or local AG, attempted to try her for murder, for manslaughter, I think it was. Thankfully, the charges didn't stick because obviously there's absolutely no basis for that case. But the fact is, that's where this is headed. I'm kind of confused on the miscarriage part, but I'm assuming they would be investigated. Right, if you have a miscarriage, I'm pretty sure that that is grounds for investigation because you are not a human being. You are a birthing pod. That's it. You are a birthing pod that cooks and cleans. That's what these people think. Right, cook, clean, and grow baby no matter how it got there. Yep, doesn't matter. That's your only purpose. I've been trying to get my tubes tied after having severe PTSD after giving birth a few months ago, and they won't do it. Wow, that's messed up. That's messed up. That's messed up. How many gonna be found in dumpsters? They will hunt down all the girls and murder them as punishment for it? Yeah, it'll probably be... If it was up to them, it would be capital punishment for having an abortion. Which, like I said, they tried to do that in Texas. There was just, thankfully, no precedent or no legal standing. And they had to let her go. They had to drop her charges, but... "15 weeks gestational age is prior to viability, of course." I had 2 kids at the age of 28. They would not without my husband's permission. What? The same husband that abandoned me and my oldest child before he was a year old. Wait, what? They required you to have your husband's permission to do something to your own body? That is asinine. I was pregnant at 16 and again at 17. I had to have my husband's permission to tie my tubes. That's just unfathomable to me. Can you imagine, like, I need to take care of my, broken elbow, and I show up to the clinic and they're like, nope, did you have your wife's permission? Or like if I wanted to, I don't know, whatever, anything that I want to do to my body. Did you, sir, did you have your wife's permission? Sir, I see you came in here for a vasectomy. Did your wife sign off on this? Obviously my tubes are not tied. You can't find outpatient services here that offer it. Sheesh. Yikes. I'm just flabbergasted at 2022, or like, and anyways, in the recent decades, um the fact that you need permission is just unfathomable to me. I couldn't do it. Imagine walking into the doctor's office to get a procedure done for your body, for yourself, and they're like, nope, sorry, sir. I know you're, above the age 18. I know you're above the age of 25. But we're gonna need your wife to sign off on this. What? I asked for mine to be done after my last son. I didn't even sign the paper for it, and they did it. Well, thank goodness they let you do what you want with... thank goodness they allowed you to have bodily autonomy. They asked my husband if he was okay with me having a C-section even though I wasn't capable of actually giving birth. They asked him... Wait, what? I'm sorry, who's having the C-section, him or you? This is just I'm actually blown away. I'm actually blown away. What? Yes, I know that your wife is currently in a basically non-negotiable position, because you have to do this. If you're not capable of actually giving birth, then you have to have a C-section. But we just want to make sure. What? It was even in my paperwork saying that I was not capable of giving birth. Yeah, like, so this is a life and death situation, essentially. Like, I understand that, you're in a position where basically you have no other choice. But excuse me, I need to ask your husband. What? Just to make sure, When my son was born, he was a preemie. I was 17 and my second son was born 4 months preemie. And he died. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. If I could have had an abortion, I would have, but it's costly and my mom wouldn't take me. What? I got pregnant at 16 and him at 17 and 86. Wow. Minnesota is such a horrific state to live in if you're left-leaning. I'm so sorry. I couldn't even begin to imagine. That's horrifying. Try Alabama? Sheesh. Hey, KTS Shine. Howdy, howdy. I left there in 1990. Nice. Well, I'm glad you did, but... Jesus. It's just, like, unfathomable, because obviously, I am a guy. And I just couldn't imagine a scenario where that would be okay. Where I would have to go to any medical procedure, anything that I wanted to do for my body. Heck, even if I wanted to have a tattoo, anything that I wanted to do to my body, that I would need anybody else's permission. As long as it doesn't affect anybody else, you should be allowed to do, what you want with your body, as long as it's only you that's being affected, such as like abortions, tattoos, piercings, whatever procedures that you want to do. I just couldn't imagine myself going into like, I don't know, a outpatient service or whatever, or go to the doctors to get like care, like medical care, and then being told that I need my wife's permission to, I don't know, like fix my arm, or I don't know, get a vasectomy, or I don't know, get a tattoo. I just couldn't imagine. Like I couldn't imagine at all. It's just unfathomable to me that someone could be in a literal life or death situation. There's no choice. You need to do X procedure. And then they have to go and ask the husband if that's okay. Oh my God. Or deny service, deny like a medical procedure because you need authorization from your husband. Oh, preeclampsia. Sheesh. Yikes. That's, oof. But there you go. They claim that a clump of cells is a person. Right. Wow. Jeez, Sunrays. Man. It's just unbelievable to me. What about women that are not married? Which male could speak for me now? I have no dad. I have no male family. Only my sons and fiance. Right. Like, I don't know. I guess you're SOL'd. Which is unbelievable to me. Like I said, they don't believe that you're a human being. They don't believe that. That's the only way this logic makes sense. The only way any of this makes sense is if you can kind of remove the human status. They should understand what can happen before making a child or having a baby. Yeah, absolutely. Before, during, and after. I feel bad for my newborn daughter. I'm so sorry she was born female. I mean, this is just beyond. This is just beyond. Yeah, like I said, no. Every time these folks talk about like freedom, liberty, and all that, they don't actually mean any of that. I have 3 granddaughters. Man. Yeah, I bet. That's right. Don't feel bad. Be mad. Exactly. Turn that energy into action. That's right. Mayhem Hippie's correct. We begin by considering the critical question whether the Constitution properly understood, confers a right to bodily autonomy, i.e., obtain the right to obtain an abortion. Skipping over that question, the controlling opinion in Casey reaffirmed Roe's central holding based solely on the doctrine of stare decisis. But as we will explain, proper application of stare decisis requires an assessment of the strength of the grounds on which Roe is based. We therefore turn to the question that the Casey plurality did not consider, and we address that question in 3 steps. First, we explain the standard that our case has used in determining whether the 14th Amendment reference to liberty protects a particular right. Second, we examine whether the right at issue in this case is rooted in our nation's history and tradition. What? And whether it is an essential component of what we described as ordered liberty. I would say that the right to bodily autonomy is definitely an essential component of liberty. Republican politicians will change their mind once their mistresses decide to keep the pregnancy. Well, I mean, I don't know. They they're probably wealthy enough to not even be affected by this. KTS Shine. Will the rapist be paying child support for these unwanted children? No. In fact, I think in Illinois, the family can sue the woman. The family of the rapist can sue the woman. First, it's our choice to abortion, then our right to vote, then our rights to own property and have bank accounts. They're literally rolling the clock back. Oh, yeah. Like I said, they don't. The only way this works, Mayhem Hippie, the only way this works is if they don't see women as people. That's it. Because this is just a huge power play before the election. If it passes, it's just a double win for them. Oh yeah. Second, we examine whether the right in this issue's case is rooted in our nation. Oh yeah, this asinine attempt to justify this. Constitutional analysis must begin with the languages of the instrument Gibbons versus Ogden, in which offers a fixed standard for ascertaining what our founding document means. J. Story, Commentaries on the Constitution. The Constitution makes no express reference to the right to an abortion, and therefore, those who claim that it protects such a right must show that the right is somehow implicit in the constitutional text. I mean, again, liberty and the right to pursue happiness and self-determination, I think, is implicit, supposedly, right? Roe, however, was remarkably loose in its treatment of the constitutional text. It held that the abortion right, which is not mentioned in the Constitution, is part of a right to privacy, which is also not mentioned. And the privacy right, Roe observed, has been found to spring from no fewer than 5 different constitutional provisions: the First, Fourth, Fifth, Ninth, and 14th Amendments. The court's decision left open at least 3 ways into which some combination of these provisions could protect the abortion right. One possibility was that the right was founded in the Ninth Amendment's reservation of rights to people. Another was that the right was rooted in First, Fourth, or Fifth Amendment, or in some combination of those provisions, and this right had been incorporated into due process clause of the 14th Amendment, just as many other Bill of Rights provisions had been then incorporated. And a third path was that the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments played no role, and the right was simply a component of the liberty protected by the 14th Amendment's due process clause. Roe expressed the feeling that the 14th Amendment was the provision that did the work, but its message seemed to be that the abortion right could be found somewhere in the Constitution, that specifying its exact location was not of paramount importance. I mean, like, the reality is your right to liberty supposedly is protected. So the women on this go to see women as object to grow babies. I don't know how they'll vote. I'm assuming like folks like Sotomayor will vote against, and the Amy Coney Barrett will probably vote in favor of removing Roe versus Wade, overturning Roe versus Wade. I agree, Mayhem Hippie. How many women are there? 2 or 3? I don't even know. I looked it up, and the women on the Supreme Court are way too old to get pregnant. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think Sotomayor will vote against, and Amy Coney Barrett will definitely vote in favor. We discussed this theory in depth below, but before doing so, we briefly addressed one additional constitutional provision that some respondents, amici, have now offered as yet another potential home for the abortion right. The 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. See brief of the United States versus as amicus curiae. See also brief of Equal Protection Constitutional Law Scholars as amicus curiae. Neither Roe nor Casey saw fit to invoke this theory, and it is squarely foreclosed by our precedents, which established that a state's regulation of abortion is not a sex-based classification. What? And thus not subject to the heightened scrutiny that applies to such classifications. The regulation of a medical procedure that only one sex can undergo does not trigger heightened constitutional scrutiny unless the regulation is a mere pretext designed to effect an invidious discrimination against members of one sex or the other. As the court has stated, the goal of preventing abortion does not constitute invidious discrimination against discriminatory animus against women. But, like, isn't it by definition the only, like, target would be women? I don't know. I don't feel like protests will do anything but make them laugh in their chambers. I'm not saying don't protest, but I'm just not sure what it can do. I mean, definitely, definitely if you can, make your voices heard. Thomas needs to go. His wife influenced him. Yeah, there's definite questions about Clarence Thomas's ethical questions around Clarence Thomas. Verbal Dragon Crew, howdy howdy. She is an epic QAnon cultist. Yes, she is. I want to do more, but I got to think about my babies because I am a mom. That's true. That's completely understandable. Accordingly, laws regulating or prohibiting abortion are not subject to heightened scrutiny. Rather, they are governed by the same standard review as other health and safety measures. With this new theory addressed, we turn to Casey's bold assertion that the abortion right is an aspect of liberty protected by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. I mean, yeah, because, well, liberty. Again, bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy is liberty. The underlying theory on which this argument rests, that the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause provides substantive as well as procedural protection for liberty, has long been controversial. What? But our decisions have held that the Due Process Clause protects two categories of substantive rights. The first consists of rights guaranteed by the first 8 amendments, and those amendments originally applied only to the federal government. Barron, example, Tiernan versus Mayor of Baltimore, but this court has held that the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment incorporates the great majority of those rights and thus makes them equally applicable to the states. See McDonald. That's another case. The second category, which is one question here, comprises a select list of fundamental rights that are not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. In deciding whether a right falls into either of these categories, the court has long asked whether the right is deeply rooted in our history and tradition, and whether it is essential to our nation's scheme of ordered liberty. What? What? What does that even mean? Deeply rooted in our history and tradition. Um, okay. That's kind of oof. Oof. Yikes. I'm in Connecticut. Close and easy train ride. I've never been there, never been on a train. I'm a homebody, but I will support with the art signs. I am a homebody too. Yeah, give me your liberty or give me death just got a whole new meaning. I can't have liberty, so it will be death by unsafe back alley abortions. True. Unfortunately. Clarence Thomas needs to step down, no ifs, ands, or buts. Ideally, yeah. If he had any ethical, um, an ethical bone in his body, he would realize the conflict of interest that he's found himself in. Becca is not here. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. My 60-year-old Trumpist coworker is going to talk about this all day at work. Yikes. Our history and traditions are pretty awful, so yeah, like that's why I'm like, ooh, yikes. No. And in conducting this inquiry, we have engaged in a careful analysis of history of rights at issue. Justice Ginsburg's opinion for the court in Timms versus Indiana is a recent example in concluding that the Eighth Amendment's protection against excessive fines is fundamental to our scheme of ordered liberty and deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition. Her opinion traced the right back to Magna Carta, Blackstone's commentaries, and 35 of 37 state constitutions in effect at the ratification of the 14th Amendment. A similar inquiry was undertaken in McDonald, which held that the 14th Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. Right. But like, you see how like simultaneously they understand or they claim to understand the concept of, the Second Amendment, because allegedly that's the reason why you have the Second Amendment is because, well, it helps you maintain bodily autonomy, right? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Allegedly, one of the arguments for the Second Amendment is because it provides your ability to have bodily autonomy, right? In the sense that like you're allowed to carry because whatever, to protect yourself allegedly, right? Which preserves bodily autonomy. Well, this is the same. Do you see how like simultaneously we both say that we're for bodily autonomy, but we're also against it? And again, the only way this logic works is if you don't think women are people. I like how the Republicans are saying don't like it, move to a blue state, like everyone can afford to move, right? I'm broke, gonna have a few, and I couldn't open the safe to save my life, though. I forget the combo. Birth control can be even considered a pre-abortion, right? They'll come for those too. But my point is that the argument for generally one of the big arguments for the Second Amendment is bodily autonomy, and I'm trying to lay out the hypocrisy or contradictions here. The only way this stays logical is that, well, you don't consider women people, so therefore only then did the opinion conclude that the framers and ratifiers of the 14th Amendment counted the right to keep and bear arms among those fundamental rights necessary to our system of ordered liberty. Well, I would argue that to maintain ordered liberty, you have to have the ability to do what you want with your body. My Trumpist coworker is sort of funny. He assumes I don't understand politics because I said we shouldn't talk politics at work. He doesn't know I'm a very active enemy to his cause. That's funny. Even though some women are only on birth control for medical reasons. Right, right. That's right. That is true. Tim's and McDonald concerned the question whether the 14th Amendment protects rights that are expressly said in the Bill of Rights, and it would be anomalous if similar historical support were not required when a putative right is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. Thus, in Glucksberg, which held that the Due Process Clause does not confer a right to assisted suicide, the court surveyed more than 700 years of Anglo-American common law tradition. What? This is such a backwards way of thinking, right? And made clear that a fundamental right must be objectively deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition. I could make, using this logic, you could make some messed up stuff legal. You could make some messed up stuff legal based on the objectively deeply rooted history and tradition. You could legalize and justify a lot of messed up stuff using this argument. I don't even know why this is a thing. How are we supposed to be able to consider something in the future if the Supreme Court makes adjudications or judgments or rulings, I should say, based on stuff that is hundreds and hundreds of years old? I mean, are we just incapable of, are we just this unimaginative that we can't, I don't know. How do we address things that that are unprecedented? How do we address things that are from the future? I don't know. How about equal rights for bodily autonomy for men and women? Yeah, that's the ideal situation. Historical inquiries of this nature are essential whenever we are asked to recognize a new component of the liberty protected by due process clause, because the term liberty alone provides little guidance. Liberty is a capacious term. Yes, that slippery little word. That slippery little word, liberty. Jesus. As Lincoln once said, we all declare for liberty, but in using the same word, we do not all mean the same thing. Well, I mean, no, I disagree. Okay, so I agree in the fact that, a lot of people use the word liberty, the Republican Party, but they actually don't mean that. But then it's not liberty. You're just using it as a disguise. So therefore, it is not liberty. You're just putting what wolves over sheep's clothing. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's not liberty. Liberty is a very specific definition. Twitch glitching out as always. Oof. Is that an F? Can I get an F in chat, or is everything okay? In a well-known essay, Isaiah Berlin reported that historians' ideas had cataloged more than 200 different senses. Uh-oh. Refresh, folks. First comment. It seems fine to me. Okay. All right. Cool. Why did we refresh? I don't know. Some folks were saying the stream was wonky. Twitch being Twitch, you know. Can everybody is everybody good? Can we see okay? How's it going, Dr. Dragon Rider? Yep, okay. Cool. Fine for me. Okay, cool. Thank you. I think it's okay now? Okay, cool. Alright, so we'll continue. "200 different senses in which the terms had been used. Ferocious Burrito, thank you for the follow. Love the username. Good to go, and please look up to my other comment where it's going okay. I've only about 1,276 lines of code to go. I forgot I have Instacart coming. Alright, let me go check. Any male or female that is in favor of pro-life crap that is always going on and should also be fixed. Yeah, I mean, like, pro-life is also a misnomer. Yeah, that is also a misnomer. There's nothing pro-life about them. But yes, I agree. It's more like anti-choice. Anti-freedom, yeah. How's it going? Did you see the Supreme Court Roe v. Wade leaks going to get overturned? Supposedly. That's the draft that we're looking at from February. Right, this is also simultaneously the same party of small government, remember? It's just like the contradictions are just absolutely asinine. Absolutely asinine. Yes, we're for small government, except when we want the government to be in literally people's bodies' businesses. The mental gymnastics they must be doing are astounding. Oh no, they're at Olympic levels. They're Olympic levels of mental gymnastics. This can start a huge insurrection on this change. I don't know about that, but it will cascade into. I think if this does happen. If this does go down, I think that it will have a lot of ramifications, but I don't think it's gonna kick off like an insurrection. No. All right, we've got a limited time, so right, because we were born here, we must follow this religious belief makes 100% sense. Yeah, like I don't understand. Like the whole point was to have freedom, right? Freedom of choice, freedom of bodily autonomy, right? That's the whole argument of pro-choice. Listen, if you're religious and it's so abhorrent for you that you can't even think about having an abortion, here's like this like massive 200 head chess move, okay? Are you ready? Don't have an abortion. That's it. You can make that choice. Yeah, that's it. That's literally it. Right, don't like abortions, don't have one. Hey, period. Full stop. No other arguments necessary. If you do not have an abortion, I mean, if you don't like abortions, if you think it's some morally reprehensible thing that you just can't wrap your head around it, and you've made this decision yourself that you want to do this, hey, that's your choice. Like I said, if a Muslim tried to use their religion to get a law passed, the Republican parties would go crazy. Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's funny because like they're enacting, we're going literally in that direction. You don't want to get pregnant, then don't have sex. You won't get to the abortion decision part. Lol, what a backwards way of thinking. Oh, listen, if you don't want to get pregnant, don't have sex. As if there's like literally nothing else you can do. There's just nothing. Nothing. No condoms. Nothing. No birth control if it works for you. And again, furthermore, Who the fuck are you? Who? And more importantly, Spaniard, who the fuck are you to say what you can do, what somebody else can do to their body? Wait, it goes for all women and males? No. This law, this ruling, Roe versus Wade, is specifically uh for women. Because that's who it affects. It shouldn't matter whether men get laid less or not. How about fight for the actual rights of people? Exactly. Can you imagine a lady who just had sex and got pregnant? It has happened. It has happened. Because, like, you best believe that none of this would be okay to regulate, like, a man's body. Guaranteed. Guaranteed if there was, like, if there was laws... If there was laws that said, like, men had to have mandatory X, Y, or Z, like, I don't know, mandatory vasectomies until their age of 25, guaranteed that would never fly. Because, of course, you wouldn't want anybody to regulate your body. Right, right, like, it still blows my mind, Becca not here, the fact that you had to get permission or authorization. That's just insane. Yeah, the sex education, free access to birth control, and other contraceptives is the word I'm looking for. Is contraceptives, yeah, sex education. Birth control, sorry, I realized because I was, yes. Unfortunately, Dr. Dragon Rider, it's going to lead to a lot of harm. They think all teachers are groomers too. Yeah, I don't know. I've learned that, you know, whenever they start talking about all this kind of stuff, it's usually self-reporting. It's usually self-report. All right, we gotta get going. I knew when I was 5 I was a girl. Imagine not knowing if you are or not. Right. Right, that's the whole point. Like, a teacher is there, you know, while you're under their care, you know. You're supposed to be able to trust and talk to your teacher, you know? But, yeah, let's make men have to go out of the country for sex. That doesn't stop men from having sex. Yeah, like I said, Sunrays, it's usually very, it's a... You can be comfortable in making the determination that whenever you hear these folks talk about these kind of things, it's usually a self-report. Until the latter part of the 20th century, there was no support in American law for a constitutional right to obtain an abortion. Zero, none. Oh, so therefore it shouldn't exist? I don't know, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do we get anything done for new, like, procedures, right? And it's like, oh, well, there was actually never, you know, was never put in forth through law, so therefore it can't exist. I don't know. Either way, all of this is just dubious and deeply disturbing. Yeah, religious fundamentalists are extremists. All right. This is the latest on the January 6th committee. They're going to ask information from Ronnie Jackson, Andy Biggs, and Mo Brooks. I think Mo Brooks was the guy that showed up. Was the guy that showed up with a bulletproof vest to the event because nothing was going to happen. So of course, that's kind of weird. And also their alleged ties or communications, I should say, to the Oath Keepers. Which, if that ends up being the case, that's deeply disturbing. The GOP wants slaves, and the easiest way to do it is forced birth with little education or economic opportunities. But don't worry, their mistresses and rich won't be affected because they can fly out of the country. Right, that's why I was saying cheeseburger freedom. None of these folks are going to care. The lawmakers, the GOP lawmakers, even if they have mistresses that want to keep the child or whatnot, it doesn't matter because they can always just go to another country or go to another state. I'm actually joking about the sex strike. Do you really think I think that would work? No. I'm really sad to see how many women are actually discouraged and are willing to fight this judgment right now. I would say to gear up for the possibility that this is actually going to go through, just based on all of the events of last couple of years, maybe 3 to 4 years, maybe even further. Just the way things were moving. As soon as Trump was able to put down that second justice, it was pretty much on its way. This feels, it's not an if, it's not an if anymore. This feels so final, but we should fight it with everything we've got. Yeah, I agree. Committee Chairman Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney contended in letters sent Monday to Representatives Ronnie Jackson of Texas, Andy Biggs of Arizona, Mo Brooks of Alabama, that the trio had information that could be helpful to the panel's investigation into the facts, circumstances, and causes of the January 6th attack. Yeah, I think that they definitely should have a talk with these guys. In one of the encrypted messages referred into the letter, a member only identified as user 1 wrote, Ronnie Jackson, Texas office inside the Capitol. He needs Oath Keeper help. Anyone inside? So this tells me that these folks were definitely these folks definitely had some type of communication or ties, at least, to the Oath Keepers who were heading there. Which, yikes. Oh, I was talking about the person who just said we shouldn't have sex. Oh, yeah. I'm making a joke of a statement. Gotcha. Sorry. Think of everything the women have done in history to give us what we have today, and we're just going to roll over and take it? Right. I could see this starting a civil war. Too many people will die at the hands of Christian nationalists, and not everyone will tolerate watching their loved ones die because of God's will. Maybe, but someone said that earlier about, kicking off an insurrection. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Certainly there's going to be there's certainly going to be ramifications and things are going to be different. If this goes through, but I don't know if it's going to escalate to that point. I'll more than likely get reelected and then replace Thomas as an even younger, more right-wing justice. Yep. It was just 102 years ago when women were able to vote. Yep. This is a hill I'm willing to Roblox on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I said it because within 24 hours, there's quite a few protesters already. Yeah, protesters. Oh, yeah, absolutely. As there should be. There should be protests everywhere. Eight minutes later, the person wrote, Dr. Ronnie Jackson on the move needs protection. If anyone inside, cover him. He has critical data to protect. Yikes. 2 minutes later, the group's leader, Stuart Rhodes, I think this is the Oathkeeper, wasn't it? Give him my cell number. Rhodes was then charged this year with seditious conspiracy in connection with the January 6th attack. He pleaded not guilty. So yeah, this guy is the Oathkeeper leader group that was there. Apparently having some type of ability to contact with members of Congress, GOP members. That's kind of strange. Oh, I don't know if it's because of that, Dr. Dragon Rider. Many there are already people in DC protesting. Good. These have been escalating. Things have been escalating higher than just regular protests lately. Yeah, but I don't think this is going to lead to an insurrection or civil war. I don't think so. I don't think so. I guess like maybe the silver lining, maybe, and this is just kind of like thinking out there, that this actually ends up being because like overall the majority, like there's a good chunk of the population that actually is okay with pro-choice. There's a good chunk of the population that is actually okay with pro-choice. Maybe this could actually work against them in a Hail Mary kind of another path that this could take. It is possible, is that it actually turns people more away from the GOP, because even like there's a good chunk of people who are pro-choice, and if they do this, I think there is a possibility it might backfire, which is like, it's on the lower end of the scale, but it is a possibility. The Supreme Court is not elected, so they will not change. No. I'm saying because who put those justices there, right? Who's pushing for all of these restrictions? It's the GOP. If the GOP also manages to overturn Griswold versus Connecticut, I think that it would be the match to the pile of gas. Hell, in Minecraft, I will go Second Amendment weirdo. Come take them over birth control. I mean, like there are people. Yes, I mean it is a right to bodily autonomy. Like that is one of the most fundamental things, right? As a individual, right? CT for the win. I love this state. Anyways, my point is, I don't know how far this is gonna go, but the point is, we must be vigilant and we must push back on this as much as we can. The lack of the Dems doing anything to prevent this also has me upset. Yeah, I get it. The Republicans are pushers and Democrats don't seem to compensate for it. Right, it's very milquetoast to non-existent. The opposition has been like not really there, other than like some statements on social media or whatever. There's no unified organized they have no unified like organized opposition. I really can't believe Democrats expect anyone to vote for them. That's bold. I mean, if they keep it up, if they keep it up, I mean, it's pretty much it's gonna seal their fate. There's only what, a couple of months. There's only a couple of months. There's election season is already starting to kick off. No real palpable deliveries. No real nothing. We've got no big wins. No big swings. Nothing. It feels like they want the Republicans to seem super evil. Yeah, but like that's not a viable strategy. It's not about like making them look weak or strong or whatnot. It's about like, listen, you were elected because of a platform, and you have basically failed to hit the mark on like just about almost everything. I mean, like, how are people supposed to vote for you if you didn't even make like a if you didn't even make like a solid attempt to enact like some of the things that that you said that you were going to enact, right? I mean, like, the only perk to Trump winning is that he can't run again. Well, judging based on his previous actions, I don't think that's relevant. If it was up to him and the way he has no regards for norms or procedure or laws, if it was up to him, he'd stay there. Period. GG, but I'll talk to you soon. Much love. Thank you for stopping by, Dr. Dragon Rider. Appreciate that. They're more than likely losing Warnock's seat in Georgia. Yeah, like, I mean, wasn't there like a very massive on the ground movement to get the Senate? I mean, it was literally so against the odds that the Democratic Party would get the Senate because they needed both seats in Georgia. Not one, both. And they got them. They got them off the backs of the unprecedented groundwork and the platform. But if you don't deliver, or at least like give me, some sense of like, look, we're trying, this is what we're doing. We've introduced legislation in the Senate and the House, and whatever, like, I've tried to do X, Y, or anything. I mean, just anything. Like, nothing. You gotta give something. You gotta give one of your core like platforms so that you can show people that you did something. Otherwise, this idea that we're not Republicans is just not good enough anymore. We're not Republicans, so therefore vote for us. It's just not a viable political strategy, electoral strategy, I should say. You need to give people something to vote for. If Dems don't do shit and back their end up, otherwise it's just fascist and fascist light. It's more like, it's more like, I think, I think it's more like fascistic, the GOP's fascistic tendencies versus like incompetence. Do you think that Democrats could win right now if they used Republican strategies like pushing a nonstop flow of propaganda and tons of rallies and passing bills? I think that like with a good public campaign showcasing your bills that you passed, like receipts, would work. I think I'm just going to lurk while I work on a sketch now. Oh, no problem. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for the follow. We just need to stop Republicans and Democrats currently. No. things have to happen. They're both making a mess of the country for the past 10 presidents. In my opinion, neither party has been living up to their platforms in order to be concerned or take care of the American people. I mean, sure, but like, this is the systems that these are the tools that we're given. The solution is to begin to build alternate structures in parallel with the system that you already have, while doing what you can with the tools that you have within the time that you have. You got to build these structures parallel to each other, right? Mutual aid comes to mind. Sorry about that, folks. Just gotta make sure I got my work. Gotta make sure I got my work stuff going. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think that the solution involves a multifaceted plan where you need to kind of build parallel structures. An example would be like protesting, mutual aid, and things like that. Joining organizations that advocate for stuff like, I don't know, climate change, human rights, things like that. While also being very involved when it comes to local and state politics, especially. Begin to get very familiar with who your city council is, your state legislators, state senators. Why doesn't the left push nonstop propaganda like the GOP? Our propaganda is literally saying we deserve healthcare, and it's yeah, exactly. Because right now we're too busy fighting each other. I don't know. We do need a more prepared, a more effective, a more communicative left, for sure. We need a left that's able to organize. We need a left that's able to reach the American people. And we need to prove that we need to show the proof of concept by building alternate power structures. Why are you relying on the left? Because the right is right now just off the rockers. The right has nothing of value to offer in the issues that I care about, in the issues that I'm specifically very, 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 very adamant about. The right has no answers. Zero. I disagree. I don't see the right pushing for a universal healthcare system. I don't see the right pushing for action on climate change. I don't see the left taking away a woman's ability to choose. Yeah, I guess cheeseburger also brings up a good point. I guess what we should start with is like, what is your definition of left? Isn't United States Democrats are definitely left? Not really, except for maybe like a couple of them. I could count the number of like more or less left wing politicians probably in like one hand. Um, so yeah, the Democratic Party as a whole is not really a left wing party at all. Because like I'm not too keen on labels, but generally, just because your definition doesn't fit lefties in the government doesn't mean they aren't left. No, words have meanings. Generally speaking, left is anti the line usually where you can kind of like more or less have a economic divide is usually the left leaning people are opposed to capitalism. Usually left leaning people have like anti capitalist kind of tendencies versus like not if you're talking about economics. But yeah, I don't think that the Democratic Party as a whole is like a left wing party. Um, there's people thinking Dems in Congress share like real leftist values. Yeah, there's no calls for the for the seizure of the means of production. Okay, in the Democratic Party. Anyways, we've got to move on. Um, this is horrifying. U.S. egg factory roasts alive 5.3 million chickens. This is just gross. Neighbors at one of the largest egg factories arrived at the plant in Rembrandt, Iowa earlier morning in March to discover that they were about to work themselves out of a job. As they gathered at the huge barns housing stacks of caged hens, the workers were told to forget about their usual routine of collecting eggs and feeding the birds overnight. The factory had begun slaughtering more than 5 million chickens using a... Oh, God. Yikes. Because of a single case of avian influenza. Ugh. I just put 22 eggs in the incubator, not kidding. Wow. Everyone's confused. What a blessing for the right. True. The culling has been repeated at chicken and turkey farms across Iowa and 20 other states. More than 22 million birds have been killed in an attempt to contain the outbreak. The majority in Iowa, the U.S. biggest producer of eggs. The slaughter of 5.3 million hens at Rembrandt is the largest culling of any factory farm in the country. Jesus, this is gross. Workers spent nearly a month pulling dead poultry from cages and dumping them in carts before they were piled high in nearby fields and buried in huge pits. Jesus. The killing over, about 250 people were summarily thrown out of work with just a few dozen skeleton staff remaining. This is gross. By now, everyone's worried about the chickens, and Oscar Garcia's former supervisor at the plant. We get it. It was a really inhumane way of that they killed them. But chickens are chickens, right? Well, yeah, they're animals. You absolute freaking psychopath. Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, this is just horrifying. Outside criticisms of Rembrandt has focused on the method of killing. Chicken farms have previously slaughtered hens en masse by suffocating them with foam or pumping barns full of carbon dioxide, methods that have been criticized as inhumane. Yeah, no kidding, because you literally suffocate these folks to death. Oh my god. I have 17 chickens and they're cool creatures. They eat grass, weeds, dirt, worms, and bugs and make eggs. Yeah, exactly. Eventually, the birds collapse and finally die from heat and suffocation. Ugh. Or maybe you shouldn't be stacking these animals in cages where they have no space to move, are confined in destitute conditions. So does the avian flu get into the meat? I don't know, but I think it can spread that way. You mean industrial farming has consequences? Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Chickens are cool. No idea what that means, pregnant dude, but you've been banned from some really cool folks, so I don't know. Nobody wants to see it used, but sometimes it is as a last resort. The rationale is if the influenza virus spreads so fast that it'll go through a poultry house really rapidly, all of those birds produce massive amounts of virus in the air, then you have a big plume of virus coming out of that house that spreads to other poultry houses. It's critical to get the birds euthanized before that virus becomes a huge plume of virus to spread. So it spreads via air. I worked at an egg farm in Three Forks, Montana. It's nasty. Yikes. When I moved to South Carolina, I saw my first chicken truck and it broke my heart. Yikes. I get what you're saying, pregnant dude. I am asking why you got clapped in several different channels of cool people. When I moved to South Carolina, I saw my first chicken truck and it broke my heart. Yeah, no, I can't do that. I couldn't do it. It's the largest poultry disaster in U.S. history with the slaughter of about 50 million chickens. Ross said that the authorities appear to have learned an important lesson from 2015 when a bird flu outbreak resulted in what the U.S. Agriculture Department calls the largest poultry health disaster in U.S. history, with the slaughter of about 50 million chickens and turkeys. Yikes. That's so sad. This is gross. This is gross. That's right. It's overall just plain bad. Anything that involves, the ability to eliminate bodily autonomy affects us all. Do they have avian flu? Yes. This is just gross. This shouldn't be. I worked at Genio Foods and Golden Plump, nastiest food ever. Could eat their products after seeing it being, quote, made. Yeah, oof. Yikes. This is just gross. Go ask them, they just banned me for my name? Alright, well. And then 2 in the Roe v. Wade was pending decision impacts me as a birthing person. Well, yeah, of course. The virus can mutate in chickens and spread to humans, right? But that only happens because these birds are kept in such destitute conditions. They're not being taken care of. They don't care. The industrial farming is just so gross. Yes, no one is disputing that, pregnant dude. My birds free range my property. That's awesome. I agree with you. My birds free range my property. Nice. Okay. So yes, this is gross. 5.3 million chickens. But this could start a new COVID-like outbreak. Yeah, well, they're different things, but maybe then we shouldn't have industrial farming like this. Hundreds flee homes in U.S. Southwest as massive wildfire advances. Yet another massive wildfire. Wind with flames raced across pine-covered mountainside in the U.S. state of New Mexico on Monday, forcing residents to flee their homes and leading to the evacuation of the state's psychiatric hospital. Hundreds of households in a historic city in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains were told to evacuate immediately as intense winds and bone-dry conditions fueled a huge wildfire burning on the outskirts of town. The blaze dubbed the Calf Canyon wildfire has scorched more than 41,682 hectares, or about 102,998 acres, or more than half the area of New York City as Monday morning. It was 30% contained as of Monday as it burned drought-parched vegetation northwest of the city of Las Vegas, home to 13,000 people. I went to get my city council to overturn rules against citizens owning chickens. 4 birds would easily supply my household with enough eggs to support our protein/cooking needs. Oh yeah, four birds would be more than enough. My town allows 12 hens. I have 16 hens and 1 rooster and 22 eggs to become chickens. Nice. The virus comes in wild birds pooping near farm chickens. Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe. I promise I won't. That's that'll be chat's our chat secret. We're trying to house and feed people with skeleton crews. Hundreds of people have lost their homes in extraordinary tragedy. Yet another. Oh boy, what's going on these ads here? CBD? That's not CBD. They just allowed us to have beehives a few years back. Right. That's unbelievable. Yet another new norm because of the severe drought that's happening, which is being fueled by climate change, is putting yet another 13,000 people, and has burned 102,998 acres. That's just unbelievable. And it is an extraordinary tragedy, but what would be considered extraordinary is just now, well, the new norm. So, yeah. I think we might have to finish this one tomorrow. But here's a quick interesting video. I wish I had audio on this, but I don't. So basically, bubbles are being tested out to see if they can help with ocean pollution. Bubbles. Which stops the plastic trash before it reaches the ocean, which is nice. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. I hope it does get mass deployed across the board. Is that whales hunt with curtains of bubbles? Nice. Same concept, I guess. Just deployed in rivers to stop the plastic from even getting to the ocean. Yes. Have you seen the movie The Loneliest Whale? Yes, I've heard about it. Sunrays. They use this bubbling in mineral extraction and ore processing plants? I did not know that. It's a long movie to watch, but it's good. I had no idea. Is it like a documentary or? Gotcha. Alright, one more thing before we sign off here. Mayhem Happy posted this. Democratic Senate candidates urge eliminating filibuster and passing bill protecting abortion rights. Senate Democratic candidates on Monday immediately called for the elimination of the filibuster and passing legislation to protect abortion rights after Politico published what it said was a draft of a Supreme Court majority opinion that would strike down Roe v. Wade. Democrats need to act now and end the filibuster, codify Roe, and defend reproductive freedom. Okay, but tweeted Wisconsin Democrat Sarah Godlewski, the state's treasurer, this fight is too urgent. Democrats have to act quickly to get rid of the filibuster to pack Women's Health Protection Act and finally codify Roe into law. That's what I was saying. I forget who brought this up. I think Sunrays. That's what I was saying, that it is more quicker and feasible to pass this into legislation than it is to have to go through a whole other fight to expand the Supreme Court. This is a more quicker, feasible pathway. Can they pass that? Can. Probably. Will? I don't know. If they can, carve out an exception for filibuster and just pass it, and they're all united on that front, then yes. But that would require an organized competent opposition. Whoa. That's funny. That is a funny shirt. Republican Senate candidates touted the draft's contents as a long-awaited victory. You see, folks, we the Republican Party, deliver. We told you. One of our big platforms, our big party platforms, is to make sure that we protect the the sanctity of life, or whatever BS buzzwords they feed their base. And here it is. The justices appointed by Republicans are bearing fruit. They've got something to show. I don't think it can pass. It needs to, but I don't see it. I think really it really is up to the Democratic Party uniting and mounting a successful, attempt to defend it, at least. According to The Hill, Biden declares the right to abortion fundamental after leaks, after the leak of draft Supreme Court opinion. Great, but I mean, what exactly is he gonna do? Can he do anything? I don't know. I really think it's up to the legislature. I don't think it's up to the president. I think it's up to the legislator to codify it and send it over. I just want the Dems to stop waiting until last minute to do anything good. Republicans have been scratching away at abortion rights for years. Oh yeah, it's been their project. 49 years. Yeah, I don't know either, but Biden needs to get in gear on a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, I guess as the head, as the face of the Democratic Party, he could attempt to rally the legislature and say, look, we need to get this done, and then provide a kind of not an ultimatum, but a sense of urgency or something. Jesus Christ. No, Illumination. That's not what they were saying. No. A victory for human life, said Arizona Senate Republican candidate Jim Lamont, another Arizona GOP candidate Blake Masters, which both sound like guys. Tweeted, "Bye-bye, Roe." We'll see. Alright, folks. Unfortunately, that is all the time I have today. I gotta start getting ready for work. Folks, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. Don't forget to head on over. Don't forget to head on over to the YouTube channel. Hit that big red subscribe button. Join the Discord. You have a good one, Sunrays. To keep up with any updates on the channel. Thanks for having us today. Have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And hit the follow button up here. You get 5 free emotes, one of them being Vaquita the cat, so how could you say no to that? So make sure you spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And join us for Saturday Catterdays around noon Eastern Time. Kitty Cat's guaranteed, I promise. As always, folks, please stay safe. Yes, spam those Vaquita emotes. Spam them. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Ooh, my hand is still really messed up. I can't do the twist. Alright, folks. Hang tight. Let's go to IDAN. We haven't seen them in a while. Alright, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.